Welcome to it, sports fans. It is Heritage Day in South Africa, whatever that may mean to you. Congratulations on your heritage. It is the 24th of COVID month 9. 9 months into it. Congratulations, you made it. The MKT Show. I am MKT. That is Gareth Cliff. And you are whoever you are, wherever you are. Had a shave today. Everybody says I look like a human baby. A human baby. Well, welcome to it because, hey, we've got big sports. LeBron James, still 2-1, huh? Celtics last night. Whew. Tough break. And that's going to be tough. Miami 3-1 up. That's going to be tough. Jimmy Butler, solid. Heroes, are you kidding me? 37 points last night. Phenomenal. The Heat. It looks like it's going to be LeBron taking on the Heat unless Jamal Murray can turn it back up. They've come back from 3-1 down twice. Can they do it against LeBron and AD? I don't think so. We saw what LeBron did in the fourth quarter. Wasn't enough, but I think he'll take care of business. Hey, listen, real business. Premier League. It's coming back. Tonight, what we're going to talk about, a little bit of boxing. We got some great boxing news coming out of the boxing world. 2 really big fights. And then we'll do our Premier League preview. Of course, tomorrow, Friday, 5. And then we'll see what we get into tomorrow evening. So on this Heritage Day, let's get going. The pugilist sport. So big fight announced. Former Olympic gold medalist, Alexander Usyk, who, if you don't know, is, in my opinion, second only to his training compatriot and much smaller version of himself. Or you might say he's the bigger version of the Matrix, right? Of Vasily Lomachenko, of course. Usyk, if you haven't seen him, is the ultimate technician. However, he's a cruiserweight. Everybody's billing Usyk as walking this one. By the way, Alexander Usyk, heavyweight champion 2012, a gold medalist. That's pedigree. 350 amateur fights. I said yesterday, look, the great thing about the guys from the old Eastern Bloc is they prefer to go deep into their 20 or late 20s and maybe even early 30s as Usyk did in the amateurs. They're happy to do that. So they are solid. They are always going to be solid. Very rarely are you going to get a fighter from, let's say, Russia and eastwards, or even Germany and eastwards, who isn't fundamental. So, but Usyk is special. I mean, he's really, really special. But in this fight, and everybody's saying it like, oh, it's over. Usyk moves on from there. And then, of course, he's the mandatory for AJ's IBF title. I don't know if it's that easy. Listen, I love heavyweight boxing and been watching it since I was, 5-6 years old. I don't think Usyk can win. It's a power thing. Look, a great small one versus a good big one, I'm always going to take the good big one because I'm not sure Usyk has, even if he nails him on the button, right? He's really a cruiserweight. I mean, when he beat Tony Bellew, it was a Tony Bellew who had really checked out of boxing. As much as he says he was in it, Tony Bellew was nowhere near it. And quite frankly, Tony Bellew wasn't it. Don't tell me about him beating David Haye twice. David Haye's been done for a long time. And David Haye was on a ripped Achilles. I'm not saying there's excuses. They had their rivalry, but nobody thinks Tony Bellew, okay, Tony Bellew is Tony Bellew. But Alexander Usyk is for real. Do I think he can beat Derek Chisora? I just don't see it. I don't see how a great, by the way, Usyk is great, but he's a cruiserweight. He's not even a light heavy. He's a cruiserweight, and power matters at the final end. In boxing, there's a term, you ragdoll somebody. You big boy them. So expect to see Chisora, Zimbabwean born, no real amateur pedigree, just over, I think, 20 amateur fights, and he came into the game. On the contrary, Usyk only has 15 pro fights, but all of them being top level. He was ready. I mean, he came straight out of the box, ready to go. Chisora to win. And I think it could get quite ugly for Usyk, who's more technical and he's looking to set up shots. What he'll look to do is obviously use his technique, stay on the outside. But I think Chisora's smart. He's a street fighter. And listen, if you haven't seen the fights, he survived with Dillian White, who is one of the heaviest hitting boxers on the planet. Chisora showed, I mean, in that last one, he got knocked out brutally, but Chisora can take a hit, man. I don't see how Usyk puts this away. And if Usyk doesn't somehow manage to put him away within 6 rounds, there's no way Usyk wins this. And if Usyk does, then the heavyweight divisions, you got problems. If Usyk can put away this man within 12 rounds, heavyweight's got a problem. I don't see it, though. Everybody seems to think Usyk's a runaway. And I understand, technically, he's clean, he's superb. There's nothing he can't do. He can fight on the inside, he can fight on the outside. As I say, Olympic champion, multiple world champion, multiple European champion, over 350 amateur fights, polished. But I'm afraid Chisora's power is going to be too much. And I don't know why people are putting Usyk as the favorite. That's my call there. Hey, we're going to keep it in between the ropes. So saw some interesting articles recently about Deontay Wilder and Fury Part 2. So now it's all about, does it have to take place outside the UK or the US? It's all about money. It's all about crowds. I mean, to make a fight like this happen, really, you need somewhere between $100 and $150 million to make it happen, right? That's just probably the purse. Forget about everything else. So you're probably looking at a $250 million fight. And what's great is this is the third one in the trilogy. This one really matters. My opinion, excuses for the weak and broken. I'm sorry, excuses. I just don't do excuses. Everybody makes mistakes. We all make mistakes. We're all fallible. We're all going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. When you make mistakes, when you fall short, when you aren't the guy or lady, put your hand up. When you start to make excuses, though, when it's everybody else, you're weak or you're broken. Folks, Deontay Wilder's lost 2 fights in a row. The first fight, I love boxing, but boxing is what it is. It's not the cleanest sport. In Vegas, especially, American fighter. That's why he got the first decision. Wilder lost the first fight. But then the second fight, I mean, he got taken to school. Folks, this one's over. He's a man whose soul was taken. Tyson Fury is the real deal. And Tyson Fury can do anything. Range, and he big boyed him in the last fight. Deontay Wilder has one trick. Right? It is when he sends one down the pipe on the right hand is absolutely explosive. But he has nothing else. He doesn't know how to set it up. All he's ever done is jab, feint, good night, nurse. That's all he has. He has one trick. Tyson Fury says, I saw that in the first fight. So, folks, for me, this is crucial. Deontay Wilder loses this, and I believe already Wilder's career is over. But this will be a money fight for him. And I think he'll lose, and it won't go 12. Fury's already taken his soul. And there's absolutely nothing that Wilder can do. Wilder gave Fury his 2 best shots. Fury got up from both of those in the first fight. That was an unfit Tyson Fury. Straight out of drugs, nearly committed suicide. Came out of that, and that's a way overweight Tyson Fury. Well, in the second fight, we saw what it was. And now he's in that Kronk gym, and they are getting after it. It's over, folks. And I think, you know what? Wilder's broken. When somebody changes their MO, what's he always been about? Social media, loud, talking. He's been humbled. I mean, when you're making excuses about your suit was too heavy when you walked in, is that the best you can do? And is that how far you have to reach, by the way? Then you started hearing, and nothing comes out by mistake, by the way, into the media. Oh, he was injured, his pectoral muscles. Like, come on, dude. Come on, bro. It's okay to lose. And the problem is he's surrounded himself with people that obviously have given him the right to go, yeah, no, that's what it was. It wasn't you. It was the injuries. Listen, folks, you can't keep looking for excuses in life if you want to be a winner. Because how does he improve now? How does he look at what was wrong? People will say, oh no, Deontay, you're fine. Everything you've been doing is perfect. In that last fight, it was your suit. Yeah. It's over. Deontay Wilder's done as a heavyweight. Forget about Anthony Joshua. Forget about the rest. He loses this fight, his career's over. Nobody wants to watch him. One trick pony. And I'm sorry to say it, it's like Mike Tyson. It's like Mike Tyson. Took him beyond 6 rounds. There's a big mythology around Mike Tyson. But once the great ones, Holyfield, Tyson, Lewis. I mean, Douglas. Buster Douglas, when he took him past those rounds after all those knockouts. Mike Tyson had nothing. He wasn't the guy. We knew that. All he had to do was take him past 6 rounds. He wasn't the guy. He was a brawler, not a pugilist. And that's all. That is all Deontay Wilder is. He's not a boxer, folks. No amateur pedigree. Just came straight into it. Great athlete, but one trick pony. The best will find you out. And Tyson Fury is the complete boxer. He has been boxing with the traveler community since the age of 6. There is nothing about fighting Tyson Fury doesn't know. Inside, outside, big boy, and technically the cleanest heavyweight out there. Pure pedigree. And I mean, you look at the Fury fighting dynasty. You look at his father, Peter. You look at his brother, who's not too bad himself. It's a tremendous community of fighters there. So, folks, I'm out. It's really an easy victory, no matter where they take it. I'm afraid, Deontay Wilder, you are done, sir. And Tyson Fury's the guy. I'll give my opinion on Anthony Joshua Fury should this happen. But folks, if I'm Deontay Wilder, I take a comeback fight. Get your confidence back. Start to feel out. He's starting to make excuses about his pec that's injured. Take a comeback fight. Because if he loses this one, I guarantee you it is over. He's lost 3 fights in a row, essentially. Don't give me that draw. He lost that. But the last one was just shambolic. Absolutely shambolic. Hey, let's move over to this one. Right, let's go back to the Premier League, and we're going to do all Premier League from here home, and then we will take questions, Q&A. So the West Brom situation last weekend was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. There's a reason Slavan Bilic has never worked in the big time. There's a reason Slavan Bilic has never worked in the big time. So, as you go through life, if you want to know who somebody really is, not who they present, who are they really? Right? And this is why I back West Brom to get fired. But if you want to know who somebody really is, meet their parents. There's a reason why American football teams, the college teams, you know what they do? They don't just recruit, okay, what are his stats? What are his numbers? What did he do last season on the on the NFL or college football pitch? Do you know what they do? Is they go meet the parents. You know why? Because they want to see, how big can the dad get? How big is the dad? How big is the dad's hands? What does the mother look like? What do they talk about? What's happening in the household? Where does he come from? You want to try and understand the entire character, right? Because you need to know the pedigree of something. So there's a reason Slavan Bilic doesn't work. And there's a reason West Brom are definitely getting relegated. Listen, Kieran Gibbs' red card was the most outrageous, stupid thing I have ever seen. I give that to you now. But here's why West Brom are definitely getting relegated. When you make a mistake in life, do you know the worst thing you can do? It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to, no matter how big your mistake, it's okay to make that mistake. The one thing, the secret in life, and I'm so fortunate to have people in my life that keep reminding me of this. When you make a mistake, the only thing you cannot do is the next move you make cannot make that mistake worse. You can't compound on that mistake. That is when you get into disaster. So, hey, we all have friends. Once you get into drugs, smoking weed, stop there. You can't get into cocaine because from there, it's over. When you make a mistake, the one rule is do not do anything to make it worse from there. Slavan Bilic has gone on and confronted the referee, and you can't touch the ref. I mean, Mike Dean's not everyone's favorite ref, and I hear he's getting all the flack. Okay, he's earned that. But I'm afraid, we know, as soon as you touch the referee, Bilic has lost his cool, and this is why Bilic has never worked in the big time. Fulham got fired. All of his other jobs, he gets fired in the big time. It's okay in the championship. That's a bit more of a, a laddish league. They kind of like that character and a bit of bristle. The Premier League's corporate. The Premier League is corporate. We're not going to tolerate that. Here's the problem for West Brom. If Kieran Gibbs is acting like that and his manager's acting like that, what does that tell you? Who's in charge? Who's in control? Leadership is about control. Bilic has no control. How do I know that? He has no control over himself. Listen, Gibbs got sent off. Okay. Whether you agree with the decision or not, let's move on. You want to address it? You want to address the referee? You got a media conference afterwards for as long as you like. Bash the referee, then put up with the fine. But now what's Bilic done? He's gone for 3 matches. He won't be at the touchline. It's a COVID environment, so you can't even be in the stadium like you normally would be with a phone line or whatever it may be to watch tactically. When you make a mistake, the worst thing you can do is the next action makes the consequences of the mistake even worse. Right? You crash a car and you run off. Like, no, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Folks, when we were younger, what do? You push your little sister over, or you push someone off a jungle gym, and then you go and tell the teacher a lie. And then the other 3 kids say, no, we saw him. Whatever you do in life mistakes are fine. Don't make it worse with the next action. There's a reason West Brom are getting relegated. Your manager's a hooligan. I hate to say it, and I kind of like Slaven Bilic on TV and maybe as a lad. He's got no control. When the leadership can't keep things in house, it's over. West Brom, you're getting relegated, and I don't care what happens from here. Mr. Bilic is not the guy. Premier League's corporate, people. Greatest show on earth, yes. Football, yes. The lads, yes. The songs, yes. The banter, yes. Corporate, all the way. It's over. West Brom are relegated. Book it now. If you're a betting man or woman, book it now. Who's in charge there? The fact that Gibbs feels liberated to put his finger in James Rodriguez's eyes lets you know. There's no control there. It's over for West Brom. Slaven. And, hey, Slaven probably fired by December. Again. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Hey, West Brom this weekend, they got Chelsea, but let's look at the other fixtures. I'll give you my predictions for this weekend. We'll have a few pick'ems this weekend. So it is week 3. Unbelievable. How great is it to have the Premier League back? Some teams, of course, only 2 games, but it is week 3 of the Premier League. Let's start right at the top. That is Saturday, 2 days away, of course. We got Brighton, Man United. Listen, the Seagulls are on fire. They're doing it. That Graham Potter is special. He's made for the big time. He came up the difficult way. He had to go away, coached in Sweden, came back, innovative, young, one of those young British coaches. Very few British coaches right now, but one of the new brigade. Modern, very European style that Brighton play. Highly technical, nice and fluid, ball on the deck. They had Chelsea on the run, by the way. They had Chelsea on the run. It's the 3rd year of his tenure, and you're starting to see Brighton take shape. Brighton hosts Manchester United, who are struggling. Pressure game for Ollie. Real pressure game. What does he do? Because Brighton are playing well. They dominated Chelsea. They dominated Newcastle. This is a side playing well. If I'm Ollie, I humble myself. I probably go 4-5-1. I probably put Martial or one of my strikers on the bench. Daniel James, maybe on the bench. Tighten things up, play an extra midfielder. Maybe get Juan Mata to give me a bit of control in the middle. But I certainly don't play 3 strikers, 4-3-3. I think Ollie will do that, though. I haven't seen any self-awareness. I'm afraid I see 3-1 Brighton. I can't see anything else. United have no confidence. It's a mess right now. I think the Maguire situation is still playing on them. They got to deal with the Greenwood situation. There's just so much going on. And Ollie, once again, just doesn't seem to have control. Brighton are the form team in the league. I don't think a team, and people won't say it because they're not one of your traditional bigger teams. They are the form team. I know they lost to Chelsea, but a little more quality up front. They beat Chelsea. That first 25 minutes, they were all over Chelsea. And they missed a few chances, a little more cutting edge. Trust me. So for me, Brighton, it's really, it's not like a hot take. It's not a hot take, Brighton 3-1. Another really interesting game follows that. Crystal Palace, I mean, they beat Man United last week. They beat him. Five first-team starters, 6 with Milivojevic, who came on. So I don't want to say he was out, but they had 5 first-team starters out. They beat Man United 3-1. So they aren't too bad. Zaha looks like he's serious. He's finally grown up. They gave him the captain's armband. So he's obviously the vice-captain with Milivojevic when he's not there. Listen, but Everton are for real. Everton are real. What's it, 9 goals in 2 games? James Rodriguez is real. Calvert-Lewin is real. I see only one result here. Do you know, Crystal Palace only scored 38 goals last season. How do you stay in the league scoring 38 goals? Absolutely incredible. They're a better away team, I'm afraid, Crystal Palace. It's just one of those. All they do is counter. They don't have that cutthroat press. I mean, even with Batshuayi, who can hold the ball up, it'll be tough to leave Ayew out, I think. I'll tell you what, Schlupp is important to them. He can carry the ball from deep. Zaha is important for them. Can they get the Batman involved with Ayew? Not too sure, but I'm afraid Everton just too powerful. Alan will give them the control in midfield. I think James Rodriguez is sensational. And Calvert-Lewin, for me, Harry Kane, be careful. Calvert-Lewin is you don't want to say the best, but he's challenging Kane now. He's got the full game, right? Unlike Tammy Abraham, he can actually hold the ball up. Much in the Didier Drogba mold is long ball, chest. He can still hold the defender off. He can score in the air, feet, and he's got tremendous pace running off that last man's shoulder. They'll have too much. Luca Dean, they've got Seamus Coleman. I think it's too much. It's too much. So for me, my prediction there, Everton 4-2. That is 4-2. I think it's quite easy. Put your money on James Rodriguez there. He's looking exceptional. Absolutely exceptional. Let's see what the other games are this weekend there. Dave, we've got West Brom, Chelsea. I think that is what that is. Burnley, Southampton. So great games. And all this is also Central African time, by the way. So I think that West Brom, Chelsea game is a given. Burnley, Southampton will be fun to watch. Sunday. What we got on Sunday? Sunday will be nice as well. Great fixture there. Leeds, they play really open football. They'll play, it'll be probably the game of the season in terms of the quality of football we'll see. Because Sheffield do not defend, by the way. They've got a nice defensive shape, but they play free-flowing football, attacking football, and then Leeds, well, we've seen they've conceded 7 in 2 games. El Loco, Marcelo Bielsa. He is sensational. Spurs, Newcastle, and then my pick in my game for Sunday, which I think will tell us everything that Man City are. Man City, Leicester, and Leicester had a tragic injury, piece of injury news come out today. Indeed, he's out. 12 weeks is what they're saying. That's a problem. That's a huge problem for Leicester. I think this is going to be City's season. I wouldn't be shocked if City went unbeaten this season. I think City 3-1. Man City are just too powerful. There's too much on the line. It's Sergio Aguero's last season. It's Pep Guardiola's last season. They're not letting the season go. Watch them go unbeaten. They are going to pulverize everybody in their way. West Ham Wolves, nice game to finish off. Semedo has joined Wolves from Barcelona. Incredible pulling power. Hey, might as well be the Portugal national team. That Wolves team, of course, the connection there, George Mendes and the powerful Chinese ownership consortium. So, hey, Wolves, look for them to do big things. Top 6 for sure. Well, we got Monday. Big fixture. The fixture of the weekend. Maybe not the best quality football, but certainly in terms of status, your traditional Big 6 clubs. We got Villa, Fulham. Of course, you'll be watching this show on Monday. And then straight after this show, after the MKT show, we'll all go home and rush home for the Liverpool-Arsenal game. Look, Arsenal are rigid, organized, but they're still lacking. I think it's still clear that, if West Ham had a little more quality, they would have done it. If somebody's going to punish you, it's Liverpool. I expect that to be quite easy. I expect 4-2 Liverpool. There's nothing Arsenal can offer me that suggests that they can break down Liverpool and also keep goals out. Liverpool can play everywhere. Long ball, they get the overload going left and right, the pace of play out from the back. I mean, that goal by Sadio Mane against Chelsea just lets you know. They can deliver that final pass, especially now with Thiago, a little craft in the midfield. If there's no space and you're playing a low block, no worries. We go out wide, whip it in. Sadio Mane, I mean, mental. Absolutely mental. So that's a pretty easy game. The Gunners, I'm sorry, it's all over. 4-2 for me. Love to hear what you think. Hey, we got Q&A coming up after this. Welcome back to it. Q&A. Let's get into it. I hope everybody is well and safe this fine evening. In South Africa, we celebrate Heritage Day. Let's get straight into it. Senzo Sitebe says, don't be surprised if Leeds end up in Europe. Bielsa knows what's up. Hey, possibly the most influential coaching figure maybe football's ever seen. Certainly modern day football. I urge everybody to go and look at the Tifo podcast after the show, of course. Have some respect on Marcelo Bielsa and how he's possibly the most influential football coach that we have ever seen and how obsessed he is with football. Do I think Leeds are going to be in Europe? No, I do not. Because in order to play that style, you need Man City's quality. And the squad's a little thin. I think Bamford's quality, you expected him to get 15 to 20 goals. And here's the problem, is that really after December, what happens with that pace, that style? Unless you've got serious quality, unless you've got the quality of Liverpool, unless you've got the quality of Chelsea, unless you've got that Man United front three quality, it's not sustainable because injuries are a part of the Premier League. And quite a bit of Leeds' football is going to be spent without the ball, by the way. As much as Marcelo Bielsa. I mean, we saw against Liverpool. That's how they're going to play. That was away at Anfield. They got 3 goals. I'm afraid they are unfortunately permeable, what you might call permeable. The way you win the league is semi-permeable. You can't just, basically they part like the Red Sea without the ball. But it's because with Marcelo Bielsa is once they get the ball, is everybody open. Which means the technique of your centre-backs and midfielders needs to be spot on, which is why you need the quality of David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Riyad Mahrez, because essentially they're attacking with 8 players. When they very rarely are Man City losing the ball. And if you lose it, right, you need the quality to get compact quickly. And not for everyone. So, Senzo, I can't go with you there, but I like the hype. I like that Marcelo Bielsa is in the Premier League. I think you're still going to see a lot of entertaining and you're going to hear a lot of entertaining things because he says what he is thinking, by the way, which is why most places he goes, he lasts 1 season. Absolutely outrageous. Jesse Randolph says, do you think Bale will do well this season? I do think Bale will do well this season. I think Gareth Bale is the best player in the English Premier League immediately when he landed. I think once he comes back, he'll be back in 2 to 3 weeks, and I expect him to get 25 to 30 Premier League goals. And I expect him to challenge for 4th place. I think Everton might lose out in that 4th, in my prediction. I think Tottenham may get top 4 purely because Bale and Son. If they get the identity crisis right, Bale's the guy. Listen, give the team to Bale. As soon as he comes in, I know I said Son, but Bale's here now. He's your best player. Harry Kane, you're 3rd place. Like tap-ins and whatever. You just stay in the middle. Gareth Bale's our kingpin. If Spurs do that, Bale gets you 25 this season and secures you top 4. I think Gareth Bale will play well this season. I think he'll be incredible. Expect a player of the year nomination. Talking that level. Absolutely. Huge Gareth Bale fan. Senzo Tebe says, yeah, you are right about Son. When Kane isn't there, that's when Son shines. Pun intended. I think they all resent Kane because I don't think Kane is fully there. Now, I think that's a great statement because, listen, nothing comes out in the media on purpose, or unless it's on purpose. He's working the move to Manchester United or to Real Madrid or wherever Kane feels he should go. All the stuff coming out in the papers, where there's smoke, there's fire, folks. Nothing just comes out, and Tottenham aren't releasing that. So I think that's a great point. I think a lot of you can fool everybody else. You can fool media. You can fool other people. You can fool people outside the organization. The one sort of set of people you can't fool as a manager and leadership is the players. You can't fool players. I think that might be a great point by Senzo. I think when Kane's not there, it's very clear they're a different team. They're more free-flowing. And it's clear that Son is I have to say, he's a much better player than Kane. He's a more all-rounded player, and he's a goal machine. Listen, the modern-day players are coming off the wings to be the top goal scorers. Your traditional number 9 getting you 30 goals in the league, that's very rare. Look at Aubameyang. You look at how Mane and the Egyptian king operate. Mo Salah, they aren't number 9. Firmino isn't the top goal scorer. Benzema wasn't the top goal scorer. It was Bale and Ronaldo. Lewandowski's a unicorn. But even there, you're looking at Gnabry's numbers. You look at Leroy Sané's numbers this season. He doesn't get injured. He's getting 35 goals this season from the wing. So, yeah, I think Harry Kane, move aside. Son Heung-min is their best player currently, but GB11's in the house. Rikke Swart says, do you think Ed Woodward is the reason why they can't get the signings they want? Rikke, it's never a one-man thing, but all the articles are out there now. His right-hand man is in big trouble. Everybody's lost respect for him. But what you have to do in life, right? What's the common denominator? When did Man United start struggling? Ed Woodward. He's the only common denominator. Because let's look at it this way. Moyes didn't work. LVG didn't work. Giggs didn't work. Mourinho didn't work. Oli, it's not working. So you keep getting rid of the manager, recycle it. Di Maria didn't work. And name all the signings, didn't work. Who's the constant? Who's making the signings? At some stage, we have to say, all right, does this guy know how to evaluate a proper talent? He's the only common denominator. In life, there's something called, or in logical theory, whether it be mathematical, statistical, or philosophical, there's something called Occam's razor. And blah, 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 let's move past all the high level, we think we're better than the world. But all Occam's razor does, and it tells us, is usually the simplest explanation, right, is the truth. Don't look for complexity. Occam's razor, go and look it up. The simplest explanation is usually what's true. And what's simple is who's been there the whole time. Who's been the decision maker the whole time? When Fergie and David Gill left, seriously, Fergie won the title with Waterboys and Pom Pom guys. Ashley Young was the starting right back or left back. It was a shambles that season. You had Jones. That team was a ragdoll. Even Wayne Rooney was done. You had RVP and that was it. Really, that United team was a shambles. Fergie won the league. Got a very unlucky red card. I think Nani got that unlucky red card against Real Madrid and got knocked out by a very good Real Madrid team with Cristiano Ronaldo leading them. And then he left. Then David Gill left. Who was there? So since 2013, I'm afraid it's a mistake. Listen, it's a coinky-dinky for 2 years. It's been 7 years now. The only consistent factor is what do you do about this guy? So I'm afraid I'd have to agree with you there. I think he is the only consistent factor, and at some stage he has to take responsibility. And it's not a money problem. We've seen over £700 million dropped by United in that time. Ed Woodward is the only constant, and that his era has been down, 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 and we're in the pits now. And one thing, like I told you, you can lie to everybody else. Players talk. Do people think players don't talk? The game's international now. Di Maria's an Argentine legend. They love him in Argentina. You think Martinez at Inter Milan, Laruto Martinez, my God, he's some player, by the way. You think he's not asking Di Maria's opinion when United come up? You really believe that? The game's international now, folks. You think Patrice Evra is not talking to the next French talent, Kylian Mbappe? He's asking Patrice Evra, hey, what's happening there? And Woodward's the guy, I'm afraid. It's an absolute disaster. Dave, what we got? The Rig says, what do you think of the new Tyson that's coming back? I think it's idiotic. I think somebody, but I guess he's an entertainer. And we're talking about, for those who don't know, he is talking about a 4-round fight with Roy Jones Jr., who I believe Roy Jones Jr. is the greatest fighter of all time. But it's idiotic. But to be honest with you, I was never on the Mike Tyson hype train. I've been watching boxing for a long time. Awesome to watch and an awesome entertainment figure. But when you talk about a pugilist, he wasn't it. He was great for 2 years? But when people took him in the deep end, what happened? Buster Douglas. All right, the power thing's, it's done. What happened? Listen, he lost Custer Marco, and the greatest trainer of all time, Custer Marco. Go and look up documentaries on him if you enjoy greatness. And man, Custer Marco is the guy. Just an absolute. They call him really more of a psychologist than a boxing coach. The greatest to ever do it. The greatest boxing trainer of all time, Custer Marco, an absolute. The paisan of all paisans. What a legend, Custer Marco. I love everything I've read about him. I've read so much about that man. Tyson lost him, and the famous Custer Marco story is the very first time he saw Mike Tyson hitting a punching bag, and he said, "That's not the best fighter in New York. That's not the best fighter in America. That isn't what did he say? That's not the greatest Olympic fighter we'll ever have. That's the heavyweight champion of the world." And that's a very famous line in Custer Marco's sort of story with Mike Tyson. But I think it's ridiculous. And even Roy Jones Jr. But Roy Jones, hey, he's his own guy. He was a rapper at a stage. He's got Russian citizenship. He's got his own stuff going. So I hope they're getting paid all the money in the world. But from a boxing point of view, it's what Mike Tyson is, I'm afraid. He's always been more of a show pony than the real deal. He's not a pugilist. And stop telling me Mike Tyson's the greatest heavyweight of all time. That's absolutely ridiculous. He's not even close. Not even top 15. Rikus Swart says, these boxers are some of the fittest athletes in the world. They can train with those heavy suits on for 2 hours and they'll be fine. It was a lame excuse. Hey, Rikus, do you know what, man? I like the kind of characters and all of that. But listen, there's a great podcast right now with Teddy Atlas. Right, Teddy Atlas was the understudy to Custer Marco, and him and Mike Tyson are always going at each other in the media. And he said Mike Tyson, the way he saw that Mike Tyson wasn't the guy, was he did things like going and biting Evander Holyfield's ear. Listen, the cowards will always look for a way out in a pugilist sport. The beauty of boxing and UFC, right? Those are raw sports. If you're not it, you will fold. You will fold, and we can see it. How do we know Mike Tyson isn't the guy? Right? He folded against Buster Douglas. Because Buster Douglas won on character, not on ability. When he bit Holyfield's ear, that's saying no mas. That's begging for mercy. Right? You fold your character, because that's his character, right? Scared little man, folded. So to use the suit as an excuse, I'm afraid is so weak and so small-minded and so small and an insult to boxing. Boxing is the warrior sport. It is the warrior sport. There is no room. By the way, there is no room for cowardice in there. And there is no more cowardly thing than my suit. Are you kidding me? Who let you wear the suit? The only thing it tells me is that was the first time he had the suit on. Are you telling me he didn't try the suit 3-4 times before the fight? Deontay Wilder, dude, no respect for you. I've got no respect for Deontay Wilder, like zero. And he's all talk. He is all talk, man. He is all talk, and he's beaten 30 fighters. And Teddy Atlas had said it. Deontay Wilder can't fight. Teddy always says it. I can't do the New York Italian accent. But he says he can't fight. What he does have is the equalizer. Possibly the hardest hitting man in the history of boxing. That right hand is just, it is the equalizer. He does have that. But that's it. Tyson Fury, he's gonna get close to you. And I think what Tyson did brilliantly in the second fight was he wore him down. He was all over him. So if you watch the great heavyweights, I mean, there's many ways to fight. In boxing, you'll hear what they call an outside fighter or an inside fighter. What it means is you fight on the periphery of someone else's range. So you move into range to land your jabs or whatever it may be. And then remember, at the top level in boxing is as you're on the way in, you're avoiding whatever's coming your way, but you've already got the foot movement to get out, right? You come in, land the jab, get out. And when I say get out, you're getting out of range. That's an outside fighter. Your inside fighters, what you do is you're limiting the other person's ability to open up. So you get close. Usually you're working the body, you're working the ribs, and you really, I mean, you saw Povetkin do it absolutely beautifully after he'd been knocked down for 2 rounds against Dillian White. Is you're getting close. Generally, those types of guys are setting up the close stuff. So you're looking to hit the ribs, or you're looking for that clean uppercut shot, like you saw like with Povetkin. If you'd like to see the quintessential inside fighters finish, go and look at Alexander Povetkin knocking out Dillian White. And the inside fighter, what do they do? Especially the clever heavyweights. You saw Tyson Fury do it, is you lean on the guy. So he leant on Deontay Wilder and he took everything. Remember, all punch power. Everybody thinks it's in the shoulders, upper body. It's got nothing to do with that. It's all in the legs. I mean, Wilder's got tiny, tiny little legs. Tiny, tiny little legs. Right? Tyson took it out of him. And every time you have to shrug that body off, that saps you. You sap the energy out of that fighter. As though 3 rounds aren't long enough. Rickes has said how difficult. I mean, the cardiovascular fitness of boxers is out of this world. Listen, if you don't think it is, go just you by yourself, go and punch a bag slowly for 3 minutes at the gym. So not fast, don't do a punch count. Just punch a bag slowly for 3 minutes. Forget about foot movement. Stand dead still. And then you've got another world-class fighter trying to smash you in the face. So I couldn't agree with you there. They are some of the fittest guys in terms of the, sort of that burst energy. Phew, absolutely electric. Their thresholds must be insane. And, of course, the greatest in-out fighter, periphery fighter we've ever seen, Floyd Mayweather Jr. Jesse Randolph says, did you see what Everett said about United? He backs Ollie. Well, I also saw what he said about who's the Zaha. So Patrice Evra is something else. Look, I think what happened was after he said the Zaha thing, I think Patrice Evra had to backpedal because I think he still wants the connection at Man United. Although what I saw was the comment where he said, most people won't tell the truth. I don't need Man United. I love Man United, but I don't need them. He said most people won't tell the truth because they want a job at United. And Evra is just telling the truth. I don't know if he backs. I think he might back Ollie, but he's out on Woodward. He says the manager needs help from Woodward. That's the problem. So, yeah, Patrice Evra, though. If you haven't seen Patrice Evra's Instagram game, I love this game. Mr. I love this game. Patrice Evra, absolutely the best. So, yeah, it's an interesting one there, Jesse. A Man United legend. He's backing Ollie, but he is all out on Ed Woodward, and I think lots of Man United fans are. Dave, what we got? Why do you, I can't even read that name. Expecting lockdown to be tightened up in the UK again, but ECB and other sporting staff are begging for crowds to come back. What are your thoughts? Whew. Listen, I think we have to be honest. If we can go shopping, it makes no sense to me that we can't get back into the sports field. Like, then we have to be able to, like, close the shops. Like, what does COVID? And this isn't I'm a doctor kind of person. It's like shops are inside, restaurants are inside. Cricket and rugby and football are outside. It makes no sense to me that we can't do 50%. Right now, I don't know what the doctors are saying, and you want to be careful with something like this. It's important for us. I mean, we all want an opinion, and we think, oh, my rights, it's 2020 now, because we don't have things like wars, and we're all worried about our individual rights. We don't really have societal right concerns. So I think we need to be very, very careful about, I've got a great mentor, and I speak about her often, and she says to me, stop worrying about being right, get it right. And being right, the difference is being right is your ego. Yeah, it should be this way. Like, these people are crazy, man. To get it right is, okay, what are the factors that they're taking into consideration? Now, that can take time. Information is important, and we all know information changes situations. But I think if we can go to the shops and restaurants, we can at least have 50% crowds at sports. It makes no sense. Let's have some consistency. Everybody always says sportsmen aren't separate from society. We mustn't treat them better or worse than other people. Okay, fine. All right, fine. Then we agree with you. But then let's have tight restrictions for shops. What when I'm walking and Sally's elbowing every single avocado I touch, there's COVID on the bench then? That would be my only thing. Like, what are we doing? We can do contact tracing now. Just get sports fans. And by the way, nobody is better, right, at innovating than sports teams. So just make it the responsibility of the Premier League to contact trace fans. Take it out of the government's hands. You deal with society, and let Arsenal, let Brighton, let Chelsea. Guys, fine, you can have 80% fans, but it's on you. And the consequences will be dire because you want the money. It's your problem. And trust me, the Premier League will find the money to pay for all testing. We know now the testing's great. We've got 15 minutes tests. America's wide open. The NFL they have 3,000 tests a week. They had two positive this week. Come on. Let's be, the problem with politicians is they never innovate. They always act scared. So I'd leave it to the billionaires to try and figure it out, just as they've done in America, by the way, is number one, let's be safe. Let's get ahead of this thing. And being safe, what's it about? We live in South Africa. We understand that. It's about resources. If you have money, if you have a nice house, you can isolate. And then let's get the testing going. Let's be safe. Safety is the first thing. Make it the Premier League's problem. Contact tracing for all fans. If you want to come to the stadium, my thoughts are you have to have the app, right? And your results must be delivered every 3 hours, every 2 hours. And once you get to the ground, everybody will be tested. So if we have to get fans there 5 hours before kickoff, anybody who's not there 5 hours before kickoff, let's barricade the roads. You're not allowed in. Because for those 5 hours, we are testing all fans coming in. Something like that. I don't know. It's not my job to innovate, but there's a way. Because, by the way, in America, NASCAR, wide open. It's outside. American football, wide open. American high school football. I saw a thing with 20,000 fans. No masks. They're just doing it. They're going. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. My personal opinion is let's open it up. That's my personal opinion. Let's open it up and let the billionaires test. Jesse Randolph says, Arsenal gets Liverpool twice in 1 week. Monday is the big one. Arsenal has a chance against them. I don't see a lot of goals. I predict a 1-1 draw. Sure. Jesse, that's brave, saying Liverpool won't score more than one goal. Jeez, that is brave. What you're doing is you're backing Arsenal. Let's say Arsenal go 1-0 down. What you're backing Arsenal to do is to go forward, and Liverpool won't exploit that. Wow. Jesse, my only problem is I look at football in three departments, right? Defense, midfield, attack. Where can Arsenal dominate? Where does Arsenal have the class that Liverpool doesn't. That's the only way I try and break down football matches. Whenever I'm looking at a head-to-head, I don't see the Arsenal backline dominating. I don't see their midfield dominating. I'm not a big fan of Granit Xhaka. I'm Ceballos. I'm lukewarm on. I just don't see it. And then, you got Aubameyang, and what else? They've got Salah. They've got Mane. They've got Firmino, who's terrific. They've got Fabinho, who's terrific. They've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's going forward. He's outstanding. I think he'll have a problem with Aubameyang if he's not responsible defensively. They got Robertson is Robertson. They got Van Dijk. They got the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. And now they've got Thiago Alcantara. I just don't see it. I don't see a draw because there's just too much power from Liverpool. There's just too much power. I just don't see it. And I said, I'm sorry, I can see nothing, but I see 4 goals. But this will tell us. This is the acid test for Arsenal, by the way. I know Jesse has been saying Arteta's bringing rigidity and we're looking like a proper team. If you're a proper team, here's your real test. This is it now, right? Because you beat Fulham. Looking good, but let's see. And now Liverpool, by the way, are flowing now. This is 3 games in, and we are going. Ricke Swart, Fergie won the league with players like Fletcher and Carrick. Unbelievable. Well, there we go. Darren Fletcher was the core midfielder. John O'Shea was a major player in that team. Left back, right back, holding mid. John O'Shea, Michael Carrick. Are you kidding me? And they won the league. That Ashley Young is the main wing back because Ashley Young could play left or right back at that time. He wasn't really playing up front. Phil Jones was getting a chunk of games there. John O'Shea, Mike. You saw it. Darren Fletcher, huh? Michael Owen, Michael Owen who has no hamstrings. He literally has no hamstrings. Michael Owen was wearing the number 7 jersey. Ryan Giggs was about 408 years old in that season. But that's Fergie. That's the difference. It is unbelievable. Rickers. Please don't let your hate for United blind you. What Fergie did was just incredible. Jesse Radloff says, who do you think is winning between Israel and Costa? My money is on Israel. Listen, I'm not really, I have to be honest, I'm not really a UFC guy. And we had Soldier Boy on here, and he says Costa is was on some interesting. Yeah, he felt a little stronger than a middleweight should, or what I think Soldier Boy was middleweight. Yeah, Soldier Boy said Costa was, wearing a little more meat and had a little more extraordinary strength. Let's say that's how Soldier Boy put it. But Costa's a BMF. Costa is a BMF. I got to go with Costa in that one. But don't take it from me. I'm not a UFC guy. I'm a boxing guy, to be honest with you. But I'd like to hear what people think. I would like to hear what people think. Rickus, we'll finish off with this one. Do you think AJ can beat Fury? Rickus, I actually don't think it's close. In combat sport, in all combat sport, it's all about styles. Now, I know people will say, yes, but Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder easily. Well, AJ has Deontay Wilder's power, and let's remember he's a gold medalist heavyweight champion, by the way. So he's got pedigree. He is a boxer. He's a pugilist. He's got that pedigree from being an amateur for a long, long time. I think the difference between Fury and AJ is that Fury doesn't have the power to put anyone away, right? He doesn't actually have the power to really, if he nails you on the button. AJ's a bad mother. They're those Nigerian genes. Honestly, I think AJ beats him quite easily. I do. I really admire Tyson Fury, but I don't think it goes the distance. I think AJ, when he lines him up, because the difference between AJ and Deontay Wilder is AJ can set up a few different looks. Amateur pedigree, and I don't think it goes well for Tyson Fury. Looking forward to seeing that one. Speaking about things I'm looking forward to, tomorrow we'll be back. The Friday 5, we'll probably be back with the Q&A. We might have a guest, who knows? We try and keep it flexy. But guys, you could have been anywhere with anybody tonight. You chose to be with us. And from the bottom of my heart, remember, by the way, please push the like sign. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, push subscribe. That helps us move up on the searches of sport. We want to become the biggest show in Africa and ultimately take over the world. This is the best sports show in the world as far as I'm concerned. Without you, it is impossible. I want to thank everybody at home. And I hope you are safe, you are loved, and you're enjoying your Heritage Day if you're in South Africa. If you're around the world, I hope you're safe and loved and you've had a great Thursday. Ladies and gentlemen, you could have been anywhere tonight. You chose to be with us for tonight. That is the MKT Show.